to Bourbon Taste-Offs, playoff brackets of the best whiskeys. Join us in our season-long quest to find our tastiest bourbon. And here is the bracketology of our last 6 months of taste-offs. We are halfway done with the 4-quarter year. We are anxious to find what our next 2 quarterly winners are. We're narrowing it down from 192 bottles to just 1. Follow along to find out what our tastiest bourbon is. Cheers. Hello, welcome to Bourbon Taste-Offs. This is episode number 38, and this episode, I asked everybody to bring a unique bottle. So the sky's the limit on what we have in front of us. Yeah. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Todd.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Adam.
And we are going to taste these unique bottles and figure out which one is going to win this episode. And I have no idea what to expect because it could be anything.
Yeah, I'm just excited when I heard unique bottle. I was like, ooh, I have one, because it's technically still, it's a whiskey. It's in the, whiskey realm. It is a thing. It's not artificially sweetened. It's not artificially colored. And that would be a unique whiskey. So I'm excited to share that with you guys, because instantly I was like, ooh, got one. So.
And I appreciate that, because I did not verify that it had to be a unique whiskey bottle.
Oh, shit.
And so I was thankful that you all understood that it can't be like a gin or a vodka or something, or a tequila.
Tequila.
I got those too.
Oh, I could go for a margarita right now.
Paloma.
Right.
Oh, man.
So this could be anything, and I'm pretty excited. I mean, looking at the lineup, Glass 3 is pretty damn light. And speaking of the lineup, we'll just go ahead and show you what is in front of us. We don't know what it is, but this is the lineup. Glass 1 is World Whiskey Society Classic Collection, which is a straight bourbon, finished in Japanese Mizunara oak Sochu barrels at 104 proof. Glass 2 is New Riff Winter Whiskey, bottled in bond, made with malted oat and chocolate malt, and is 100 proof. Glass 3 is Whistlepig Smokestack Whiskey, aged in Traeger wood-fired barrels at 86 proof. Glass 4 is Angel's Envy Single Barrel, finished in port wine barrels at 110 proof. And we're back, and so we're going to taste 2 of them against each other. We still have to figure out what's going to go against number 1. So,
Todd, I think it's, one thing that might be beneficial for the users, or the listeners today, is if you actually took a picture
of these next to each other. The color
side by side. We have never had an experience where they're this, it's almost very light, medium, nearly see-through, and then semi-dark. But I imagine from the previous episode, that 18-year is going to blow out number 4 out of the water from a darkness perspective.
Right.
I agree. And
and if you even look at it in the air a little bit, it's very light, almost like a nutty light
syrup,
nut brown,
like a maple syrup,
and then it's see-through, and then it's semi-dark. So it's just gorgeous.
And so, if Josh will hold up that option picker for me, we'll find out which one. I know.
We're just talking about James Earl Jones and then Lion King, and you're like, hey,
Yeah.
No.
By the way, the first time I ever saw in someone's theater, like a movie, was The Lion King. And the first, the opening of that with their surround sound, and I'm just blown.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So if I ever got the option to see the original Lion King in the theater, I think that'd be
Lion King
freaking
on
amazing.
Broadway is absolutely amazing.
I've seen it. I actually took my 2 nieces who were 10 and 8 at the time, and they loved it.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool experience.
I'm doing this right away because last time I picked, you were moving all over the.
You got a coin?
Yeah. You want to pick it? You want to pick it?
This is what we call fishing.
Well, I was fishing, and
1 versus 2.
In this situation, we don't have to move them at all because it's going to go 1 against 2.
Okay.
So whatever order you saw it, that's the order we're actually tasting it. And unique bottles.
Unique bottles.
And Anchorman is unique, right? Or what was the
bumps?
Cheers.
You know, like an Anchorman,
he's doing
where
get his his mouth ready to talk.
Right.
Yeah.
I have no idea what to expect with all this.
No,
I have no idea.
it's exciting.
It is. It could be anything.
Getting floral notes off one.
Yeah, I was enjoying it while it was still like a little bit away from my nose, and then when I stuck my nose in there, I'm like, whoa, okay. But still, it was only because I was like searching for something, and then I found it. Because it's not unpleasant. Mm-mm.
I'm not getting big oaky flavors. Not a lot of caramels, but it is sweet.
Definitely sweet. I don't feel like it's like a bourbon. It's more of a whiskey.
I don't know. I don't even necessarily think it like in the rye territory. Just because like rye is usually more little bit more heat on that flavor profile, more of those baking spices. I'm not really getting much out of the baking spice realm.
Would you say proof negative?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not getting much on like any kind of lip or tongue burn.
Probably somewhere in like the 90-ish range, maybe 86 the max.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a situation where it's like getting hidden also.
Right. Like a weeded something with something. I mean, unique barrels, I don't know. Maybe there's chili peppers in something or, craziness.
I forgot to tell you guys, I actually brought back Billy. I'm just kidding.
I know you didn't because behind the camera, I can actually see Billy sitting there.
For those that don't know, we had a very unique bottle that lasted a long time. Billy Goat Strut.
Billy
Yeah.
Goat Strut.
And that was an artisan distillery.
Yeah.
Like I kept calling it an artesian. Like, what is the difference between artesian and artisan?
I don't know.
Depends how
Tomato.
pretentious you are.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Depends if you're from the East Coast or the West Coast or the Midwest.
Wouldn't they be spelled the same?
Yeah.
I would assume so.
It's a tomato.
Okay, good.
Potato.
Yeah.
Caribbean.
Artesian.
Yeah. Artisan. Like,
Artisan.
yeah.
Because when I read it, I would always say artesian, but then whenever anybody else would read it, it's artisan. So I
do think like there's like an artesian well, which is like a well that just water just comes up out of the ground.
Sure.
And then like an artisan is somebody who like makes art. So
Oh.
that might be a
okay.
thing.
So maybe a little definition difference.
Here's the cool thing. We're drinking bourbon, so we don't care.
That's
True, but I mean, someone watching might be like, I've always wondered that. What is the difference?
Now, if it was the three of us hanging out outside, smoking a stogie, drinking a little bourbon, we'd be like, hey, Google, how do you say this? And we'd be like, hey, the proper way to say this.
That is true.
careful. My phone just pinged it.
Just be careful.
Oh, mine just lit up too.
All the viewers now are they're going to be like, oh no. Should we do it the other way? It's like, hey Siri.
Jeez. My thing's going to stop recording and be like, yes.
Well, I was a fan of one.
Yeah, I am
And
too.
The second time I tasted it, I liked it even more than the first time.
It's pretty complex. I think there's a lot going on in there.
Right.
Like, it's not just one dimensional. It's sitting there going, hey, what am I? Well, you have to guess. And allowing you to guess, I'm giving you this flavor. I'm giving you this flavor. I'm giving you this flavor. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's interesting to me. It's,
I can help answer that question. You are Todd.
What is Todd?
What is Todd? Yeah. No, nobody can answer that question.
On to number 2.
I've been trying my whole life.
Number 2.
Can't
You know
answer
what?
it.
Cheers to uniqueness.
Cheers to uniqueness.
And,
I feel
three
like
very unique individuals coming together
That is true.
and hanging out.
I feel like I totally messed up the assignment on mine. But we'll find out as we get there.
How can you mess up an assignment with unique? Like,
That's what I'm saying.
you can't mess
We'll
it
find
up.
out. We'll find
You
out.
can't mess that up.
I think number 2, I get the butterscotchies
I
off
love
the
Ooh,
the
the
smell.
nose.
Yeah.
The nose is delicious.
Out of control.
I don't know if I've ever smelled a bourbon or whiskey like this. This smells delicious.
I think it's like still like kind of proof even range.
Oh, what a beautiful smell. That's the best smell I've had in quite a while.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That
Can I just
surprised
smell
me.
you? Can they make scratch and sniff stickers out of this?
Oh, you know what? I was assuming that glass 1 was the one I brought, but now I think glass 2 is the one I brought. Only because the description of what I read on the bottle.
Oh, I'm just wondering if Todd tried to sneak in a bottle like Pappy 25
No.
or something. He's like, oh yeah, just try this one.
Yeah. You know what's unique?
Yeah.
You'll never see this again.
Yeah, exactly.
2, keep tasting it. It
evolves.
A flavor, yes. there's different flavors as it goes on.
I almost get a little peaty.
Yes. Yep. And that's
You could list pretty much any flavor and you can pick it out of there. Like, I shouldn't say any, but I mean,
apricot,
I'm getting
Spanish fruit.
Hand-drawn cotton candy.
guacamole. No, I'm getting just
Indian guava.
I'm just getting a lot of different things off
Yeah.
of it, which is impressive.
Yeah, it's nice. It sits on you. I almost would say it might be more of a higher rye mash bill on it because it has less of those like corn wheat grain notes, and there's a little bit more, I think, zesty.
Yeah, I'm getting like a little chocolate.
Yeah, I get that a lot from ryes though.
Okay,
Like that, like cocoa nib, the cocoa nib kind of like coffee bean kind of thing.
yeah,
So this is an interesting one because both, I'd say two is really complete.
Yeah, it is a complete.
Really complete. Now, I think it's more of a preference on whether or not you like the peaty, that flavor.
yeah.
But I think from the bourbon perspective, the smell and the completeness, I'm like, damn, this is
Yeah.
really good.
Well, and somebody who's like enjoys scotch from time to time, it's a nice little reprieve.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna giddy over here with what I've been tasting because we have no idea what everybody brought.
No.
And so it's like it can be anything. And
Luckily, somehow we didn't match up, bring the same stuff. So that's good.
that is one aspect of it. Another aspect is we don't know if we're gonna enjoy what these bottles are.
Correct.
I had a couple different options. I was like, do I just want to bring like unique bottle shape? However, it's like a unique, I mean, it's not unique in its like flavor, or do I want to bring a unique flavor situation where, I mean, all I said was unique. So
It's true.
So it's all, the spectrum is huge of
Right.
what the options are.
Should have brought the Derringer then.
Oh, I like the Derringer.
Yeah, I haven't opened mine yet.
I was thinking of bringing up that pot still like Willet, where it's like that's
the cool bottle.
the most awesome bottle shape.
It is so hard to pour out of there.
It is.
It is so hard.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't know if you've ever seen like Beer Fest where like the drink the boot, das
Yes,
Boot.
yes, exactly.
Drink it.
You know what's funny is when you talk about consistency, I find that Willet pot still is one of the most inconsistent bottles.
Is it really?
From bottle to bottle. And I've initially, when I first got into bourbon, that was the first distillery that we talked about that I'd gone to. And Noah's Mill, I was like, awesome. Rowan's awesome. I was like, oh, it's pot still. And we drank it on a patio at an Airbnb that we had rented a little house and drank that. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then like I go back to it, and I was like, the pot still is like, yeah, all right. But
Yeah.
really cool bottle. So it's a
Yeah.
cool bottle to have in your collection.
Do you know the difference between a pot still and a column still, as far as what they can
I used
provide
know.
to the flavor?
Yeah, go ahead.
So a pot still is like it's basically a pan with their mash bill in the bottom of it, and they heat it up, and then it distills, and so they have to clean it out and redo it every time. Where a column still is like they can keep it kind of going,
Right.
where it's like it's much more consistent. However, pot still, like you said, is dependent on the bottle because of whatever.
Interesting. So that makes a little bit more sense
Yeah.
of why
Yeah.
there's maybe a little bit different flavor profile between.
But they say you get much more flavor from a pot still because of that exact situation.
Yeah, I mean, this is not me hating on the pot still. I love the Willet brand. I love the rye. I mean everything I love about it. It's just,
Yeah.
and it's actually priced accordingly. I mean,
Yeah.
the bottle itself is a $45 bottle, so
Yep.
it's not priced,
Crazy.
$100. So
Right.
it's reasonable, and then it's a really cool bottle.
It is.
And I'll just show viewers if they've never seen the pot still, this is what it looks like. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would suggest both of you going back to one
Okay.
after tasting
that's
two.
a good point. Okay.
And I think you'll be a little surprised.
The floral notes hop out a lot more for me. Like right off the get go.
Yeah, I agree.
I will say I do enjoy tasting both of these.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. This almost feels to me like a monthly winter episode.
Or a quarterly.
Or a quarterly. You're right.
There's some good stuff in here.
There is some good stuff.
That's a great point.
I brought 2 good bottles.
good for you.
Nice.
Yeah, I knew Adam brought his B bottle.
So you
Just kidding.
saying you brought 2 good bottles. Have you tasted both of them before then?
I have tasted both of them. One I actually tasted yesterday because I bought it yesterday, and I was with my best friend, and we're watching the UFC fights last night. And I told him what I just found, and he's like, we were drinking Booker's at the time, and I didn't know we were going to be drinking Booker's, and then I felt bad not bringing the bottle in, so we opened it up. But I mean, I drank it again on the rocks, so
Yeah.
I don't know what it tastes like neat.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and then the other one he had found a bottle at a spot it's not a Wisconsin bottle, but in central Wisconsin that had just like a ton of bottles. And it's a really cool bottle. We tried it and we just loved it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I did go back, and you're right. It does kind of change the flavor a little bit, but I do have one picked, and I'm ready.
Gotcha. Are you ready?
I'm not.
Okay.
Give me 2 more seconds.
How about you, Adam?
Yeah, I'm good. Want me to start?
You're all set too?
I'll hold up for one more second. I don't
We can wait a little bit.
bias the pool.
You
Yeah.
said 1 second. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
I know. So last episode, we talked about some of the things we've learned from doing this. Mm-hmm. I think there's a couple things we've learned not to do. I mean, we've learned to let people disagree.
Yes.
When someone starts out, they say, this is what I think, and then the next person that wants to speak should be someone that disagrees.
Yeah.
Or doesn't agree, and then it makes it for the last person to be able to say something to be a tiebreaker. Because
And it's cool because usually all the points are different between like
Yeah.
why each one of us like it differently.
true.
Yeah.
Yep,
All right, I'm ready.
you are perfect.
I am going to pick number 2. When I first took a sip of it, I got a lot of like vegetal notes off of the flavor profile, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. But then I kind of got more of like the grain profile coming through on the flavor, and the butterscotch on the notes was really nice. And then it was a little bit smoky, which is kind of fun. It would fit like a unique flavor profile.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I'll make this fun. And I'll preface this with it could go either way. So I think 2 is probably the better bourbon or the better full body end to end. Just like really, really good. And like I had said before, you have to really determine whether or not you like the peaty. And for me, though I agree that 2 is actually better, like I would say, like, hey, like quality wise, but I actually prefer 1 from a taste perspective, only because of the late peaty aftertaste.
Gotcha.
So
That's interesting to me because I don't know if I would ever be able to do that. Be able to say that 1 is better in taste, but I prefer another one for its quality. Like I don't know if I'd be able to differentiate that, but you can.
well, hey,
that's what makes you.
I'm an artesian.
Yeah, he's an artesian.
That's awesome. I'm the tiebreaker, and I'm gonna go with 2. I really did get some chocolatey notes out of it, which, yeah, you're probably not supposed to get like chocolatey notes out of like a bourbon. However, I'm really enjoying it. Like I think there's I think it's probably neutral proof, and I'm getting a lot of different grain flavors out of it, so it's not like one dimensional. So it's like if it was like just a strictly chocolate flavor, I'd be like, no.
Gotcha.
It's like this is not a shake, you know. However, what it's providing me, it's like a lot of different nuanced flavors, and I enjoy it. So I'm picking 2.
Woot woot. It is. Yeah, I mean, great choice. Like I said, I think it's the better of the 2. I'm like, for whatever reason, I'm over the Highland peaty whiskey. It's just like something I'm not looking for anymore.
Do you think 2 is high, like peaty? Like I
It
was
does have a peaty.
Just
Okay.
that aftertaste.
After flavor.
It's
maybe
just-
a lot of malted barley. Then maybe.
I mean, a malt option would be an option, maybe,
Yeah.
but it's that like slight smokiness that comes.
Okay.
from-
right.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they
Very,
are.
very, very, very good though.
Yeah, it is. Like
really
I'm
good.
I'm pleasantly surprised when, like I said, when I said bring unique bottles, I'm like it could be anything.
So we went from 2, which had one of the best smells ever, to 3 that has one of the most unique smells ever. I don't even know what I'm smelling.
Yeah, and this is the clearest whiskey I've ever seen.
I smell ethanol. No, I'm just kidding. Speaking of kidding, you guys were wondering what I was doing in the other room. I was looking up bourbon jokes.
Ooh,
Nice.
Why did the bourbon get kicked out of the party?
why?
It was too neat for everyone's taste.
Jeez.
I don't know if that's a bourbon joke or a dad joke.
Yes. Yes.
It's right at the border.
All right, number 2. Or do you want me to say that for later?
No, do number 2.
Yeah, let's go
Why
for it.
did the bourbon refuse to jump in the pool?
Why?
It didn't want to make a splash on the rocks.
I was going to say something about splash.
Good, very good. Golf clap.
Yeah.
Insert golf clap.
Oh, for sure, golf clap.
So for those that obviously you're not going to know this, but I was chilling out in another room looking at bourbon jokes. So like, Josh, like, get over here. We got to get. I was like, I didn't want to tell him what I was doing. I was looking at bourbon jokes.
You guys don't realize I'm adding to the episode.
So there's like a website like the 1,000 best bourbon jokes. But I got to be honest, there's
stopped
probably
at
only
5.
there's probably only like one good bourbon joke per every 100. And
Right.
Right.
And that was me after being like in another room for 2 hours. So
Yeah.
It wasn't that long.
it was quite a while.
But Chewy my dog was wondering, why are you sitting in my seat?
Yeah, what are you doing in my chair?
This is surprising to me. Like, it's so clear. Like, I haven't tasted it yet, but the nose, like you, Josh, mentioned that it's like one of the more unique nosing you've had. But then you made a joke saying it's like ethanol. And I don't get ethanol out
I was
of it.
joking because of the clarity of it.
Okay.
More of
Thanks
how
for
it's-
being clear.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Shit. All right, now we're drinking too much.
For deer hunting,
sure.
I'm just going to be listening to bourbon taste-offs from start to finish. You know?
Perfect.
Just binge
Just
listening.
chilling out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm going to be hunting too. So I took last year off. Going to be hunting this year.
Oh man, I can't wait for you guys to bring steaks and sharing them.
Yeah. Venison.
I really want to make a venison shepherd's pie.
Oh,
'Cause I love shepherd's pie.
we were gifted venison chili.
Nice.
So that was freaking awesome.
It's pretty cool to get to know you're not taking any of that GMO stuff. You're
Right.
taking straight up. I mean, you do have to kind of worry about chronic wasting disease.
What's that? Brain eating amoeba. So
Yeah, it's
not a big deal.
It's organic, though.
Yeah.
It's organic.
Right. Like,
CBD, you know, it's-
but I mean, you know what I mean? It is rare, so you don't have to worry about it too much. But it does give you a little bit of sense of relief that you're tasting or eating stuff that's
yeah.
like it's deer. Like
Yeah.
they're not on a freaking
Super
farm.
lean.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's cool. And it's better to shoot them and eat them than have them get run over by semis all day.
Yeah. Or a Civic. Yeah.
I was speaking from experience.
No, it was a Sable, but same. Yeah.
Like it matters.
I hit
It matters what vehicle.
Yeah.
I hit a deer this year
That surprised me. That was awesome.
driving down the road and it like bounced off my, and then it just kept on running.
Oh, man.
And then
The car or the deer?
the deer. And then my mechanic goes, "What'd you hit, a moose?" And I was like, "No, it was a deer. Just kept running."
Oh, my God.
Wow.
And my uncle, actually, he was driving his motorcycle and he got hit by a deer.
Oh man.
He was pretty banged up, but it's just crazy to think like he's just driving deer straight upside of him. Got him.
Are you
So-
sure that wasn't your dad since he can like handle anything?
Nope, it was my uncle for sure. Yes. Yeah.
So this
it
is-
runs in the family.
It must, man. You guys are badass.
Oh my
So
God.
for those like when this blows up and goes viral, everyone's gonna know that we're from Wisconsin based on these deer stories, right?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Oh, oops, sorry.
Oh, don't you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Don't you know? Don't you know? Hey.
Yeah. Motor
Go Paco.
Yeah.
All right. Where are we? We're tasting 4 now
Yeah.
because we went from a clear whiskey.
Whatever you want it to be, man. It's a spirit.
I have no idea.
Does have a good nose.
Yeah, this does too.
I was referring to 4.
It's got a nice warm oaky feel. Like I was gonna say like a oaky cellar feel, but I don't think that'd be comforting for most people.
Like a wine cellar.
Yeah, kind of dark and dank and just.
But if you say wine cellar, it sounds less creepy.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah. What did I say?
You said dank, dark cave.
Okay, yeah, wine cellar.
I do have one picked.
I did too.
Cool. I am ready.
Yeah, how did it start? I started last time.
I'll go ahead. Yeah, I think for me it's 3 is just so unique, and really enjoyed the experience of tasting 3. Doesn't taste really like a bourbon. I don't even know what it tastes. Maybe a little bit foreign. But yeah, I think 4 is rich, well-rounded, great smell, great taste, a little oaky as it indicated. Not, I would actually very light oak.
Yeah.
But just really quality. So I landed on number 4.
Todd?
I'm going to go with 4 as well. I do like that flavor of some oak along. But I agree with you. It wasn't like super oaky. It wasn't like showing its age at all. However, between 4 and 3, it did seem to me to be more of a distillate, comparing it to a finished product. And the finished product being aged in oak, which is what I enjoy. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I am going to go with number 4. I believe the proof point on it is going to be a little bit higher, and I think it's a little bit sweeter as a finish. But I also think number 4 has a little bit more baking spice stuff that might be a little more, a little bit higher on a rye mash bill. But I do enjoy 3. But I think just for the proof point of it, I think 4 is better.
very good. So we will advance 4 and we'll bring out 1 and 3 and talk about them. We kicked out 1 and 3. So we're going to show what number 1 was on this unique bottle experience. And unique bottle number 1. Ooh, that is unique. Look at that. That thing's got the samurai looking thing going on here. Who brought this? Who wants to talk about it?
So I brought it, and this is, one of my best friend put me onto this, but Kentucky straight bourbon, whiskey finished in Japanese oak shoku barrels. It's Bardstown edition. World Whiskey Society. So I don't actually really know much about this. I couldn't really tell you much, but it's 72% corn, 18% rye, 10% barley, and
what's the proof point?
So only 1,500 bottles created, 52%, so almost a bottle and bond. So bottle and bond proof point. So 104.
I just tasted it while you were talking about it, and that's 72% corn. You can taste the corn. Like it's actually nice and sweet with that corn level that provides. I'm a fan.
I like this.
Depending on the price, though. This looks expensive. It's got a samurai bottle top, which
it's a nifty looking bottle.
It is. It is really neat looking bottle, which makes you think it's going to be expensive. Like, what are we talking about here?
So depending on where you buy it from. I think I paid $90 or something.
Okay.
And then there's actually kind of a series for this, but I didn't buy the other ones.
Gotcha.
And I can maybe take a picture. So
do they have different bottle tops?
They do have different bottle tops.
Oh, okay. But those it's similar as far as all like Asian influence?
I don't recall. I haven't done a lot of research. I couldn't even tell you much about it. We said unique bottle, and here's a unique bottle.
There you go.
That definitely fits in the category. Yeah. It was delicious.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Was that a split decision?
It was split. I had picked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 was very good as well.
Right.
But yeah, this is really good bourbon.
I think too, when you start getting the different oak finishes, right? You have like the French oaked, right? If you're even like the Ambroanas and some of the other ones, like you like them or you don't like them, right? It's a very prominent flavor on some of that aging.
Yeah, and I don't think it was that people didn't like 1. I think it was just that 2 was more complete.
I agree.
Right. Well, what I was going to say is that like I have never had a Mizurana oak before.
No.
Right? So like you kind of get to know it. Like this is what I expect when I try a French oaked whiskey. Like this is what I get when I try the Angel's Envy triple oak. They have the chickapin that's in there.
Sure.
And that adds the different flavors. So like maybe that was when I was trying to pull out some of like the floral-y notes and everything. Maybe that's from that oak.
Yeah.
Experience.
All those different nuances that you gather from like Disney.
Yeah.
You get so much influence and knowledge from Disney World, which
Yeah.
is amazing.
Disney,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
like at Epcot. And that's
Epcot,
great.
right? That's where you found Chickapin. I can't even say the word.
Chickapin.
Chickapin.
For funny thing, but one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies is Last Samurai.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of I thought it was one of my best friend brought this bottle. I was like, that's a badass bottle.
Yeah.
And then just the samurai bottle topper is I'm not tossing this out. This is one of the
No, you
coolest
keep
bottle
that.
tops
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
There's some
I
really
agree
cool
with
ones.
you.
I almost need a
Yeah.
display of cool
Bottle
bottle
toppers.
toppers.
Yeah, I agree. That's actually a great business idea. How to have obviously Blanton's has their own bottle topper
Right,
thing.
right.
But I
Well,
think,
that's what started it.
right.
Yeah.
But this is pretty badass.
That's cool. I know
It
I
is
have
cool.
I have a Delmore Scotch that has the big stag up there with all brass looking and everything. That's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, so that is a very unique bottle, and so you did accomplish that goal.
Check that box.
Check that box.
Nice, good job.
And it was actually pretty tasty.
Very tasty.
So
On to number 3.
item number 3, which ended up losing out to number 4, is a Whistle Pig smokestack whiskey. Who brought this one?
That's
Traeger.
mine. That's the one I was saying.
I have
don't know if
never
you guys
seen
liked this
that.
before.
I have never seen that.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything sponsored by Traeger or Weber,
I know.
especially in the bourbon space.
I know, right? So, I was at the when I first got my Traeger. I was like, ooh, pellet smoker, got to get all my stuff right. And I saw this at I think it was Woodman's, but it said it's a limited release. But I thought it was cool when you go through everything. They actually use their process to smoke the stuff very similar to a Scotch kind of thing. And I think that's one of the comments that you were making. It might be from somewhere else, kind of like a Nika or something like that. But it is their regular rye that they end up smoking and then barreling up. Now I've had this barrel bottle for a while, and I think the one thing that sells this one short is it's 86 proof.
Right. I was just looking at that.
Yeah.
And also trying to find how long it's been aged, and I can't see anything about it because it's very clear when it's in a glass.
Yeah, no, it is. And some of it too is I've had this for a while, and I don't know how much it's cleared up since I first got it.
Is that a thing? Can things clear
It
up?
does. That's one thing, light damage for your whiskey. They don't want you to have it in sunlight because it'll fade the color out.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea about that.
So but it's been stored either downstairs or in the liquor cabinet.
So it hasn't been in direct sunlight. Okay.
And I remember it being a little bit darker than that when it first was a thing. But I mean, it's kind of interesting. Just it's kind of different.
I would love to see this marinating some pork or some kind of a rotisserie.
It is a great bonfire and cigar pour.
Yes.
So what's interesting is we actually, or myself, I thought that this might be it almost tasted like a Japanese whiskey a little bit to me, which is funny. And I didn't want to let onto it knowing that I had brought this.
Right.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
this did not taste like a Japanese whiskey at all. This tasted like a traditional
Right.
bourbon. And, just a little bit more subtle, right, than what number 2 was, and then that, it was just so unique. Thanks a ton for bringing that, Adam. I would have never tried that. Never bought that.
Josh, you mentioned you've tried this before, this Japanese one. Did you find yourself second guessing that it could be this one, mentioning that it had some unique characteristics of being like a Japanese style? Or
Well,
I did second guess for 2 seconds, but I was like, I knew
you knew the color difference.
No, I knew I liked this, and I wasn't that big of a fan of that.
Oh, okay.
So then I was like, I can't. I was actually thinking that this made it into the next round.
Sure.
Thinking that this was actually number 2.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. And I picked against, obviously what I was like, oh,
Yeah.
So.
No, it's all trying to be unique.
But
Anyway.
I
was a big
tasted
fan
this-
of the flavor though of this Whistle Pig. It's super sweet.
Cool, different.
Yeah.
You said unique, and I was like, ooh, I got a unique, weird one.
I've never seen that before. I had never seen that before.
That was freaking awesome.
So we're gonna move over to 2 and 4, and the last one to be tried was 4. So I'm gonna go back to 2. And if I remember right, this was a little more like chocolatey notes, or I'm just gonna let it see how we feel about it. Oh yeah. Yeah, when you let that actually rest on your tongue, it actually is chocolate. That's so weird.
Yeah, it's like not like milk chocolate,
No.
not like that, but like the cocoa nib.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Yeah.
This is a tough choice.
I just went to 2. I didn't go back to 4 yet.
yeah, you ever driven past like in Burlington, driven past Nestle's?
I didn't even know they had a Nestle's down there.
Well, that's where their main headquarters is, isn't it?
Yeah,
I thought Nestle was out of like Hershey, Pennsylvania.
that'd be Hershey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
Nestle's
Nestle and
different.
Hershey not the same?
They're Pepsi Coke.
I didn't know that.
Yes, they're Pepsi Coke.
Man, you are a man of mystery. Is there anything that you don't know?
Lots.
You-
Just
you-
ask my wife; she'll tell you.
You explained it through the process. You're like,
I just assumed all like
You
chocolate
said-
came from Hershey, Pennsylvania.
yeah, no.
that's Hershey.
yeah, Hershey's from
Hershey and Nestle are different.
So where's M&M's from?
That's like
That's from
M&M
Mars,
land?
Ohio.
that's like shipping your
Ohio.
package through UPS and saying, "Oh, it was FedEx." No, they're different.
It's all Amazon.
It's all
fine.
right. That's true.
So where's Butterfinger from? Butterfinger land?
No, Butterfinger I think is Mars as well. Yeah.
Springfield, because I mean,
Oh man,
No,
remember
where-
Butterfinger BBs? Right? Those used to be a thing.
Oh
Those
yeah.
are so good.
You remember
Whatever happened to
the
Whoppers?
Simpsons weren't
love
they all
Whoppers.
like the
Springfield, right?
Butterfinger? Don't lay a finger on my Butterfinger.
Yeah.
Springfield.
Oh, that was a great. That actually, like, if you think about like memorable commercials, like
Right.
there was one like a Super Bowl commercial with like Mean Joe Green. I forget what was that for Coca-Cola.
I think it was. Yeah, the
Yeah.
kid he threw his jersey so the kid could share his Coca-Cola.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the other one that was super memorable is The Simpsons with "Don't eat my Butterfinger."
Right.
So yeah, a little product.
Yeah, I
placement.
feel it's kind of like right up there with like Where's the Beef? You know.
Oh yes. Yep. Arby's.
Yep.
Huh. I was trying to think of where that was from. Mars, Ohio.
Is the old lady. Where's the beef?
Yep.
Yep. I did a terrible impersonation.
Where's the beef, Sonny?
When we first came in here, I had my effects dialed in where I started talking and it sounded like I was like super deep voice. In fact, hold on, let me show you.
So when I first got in here, I was telling these guys that I have a really awesome deep voice, and they didn't believe me. So I said, "Listen to this."
So this is how James Earl Jones did the Star Wars thing, right?
Yeah, that's totally how James Earl Jones did it.
You were perfect on it. I didn't have to get up.
Yeah.
You knew what you were doing.
Adam is perfect.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
So that was a funny thing. I wanted Becca to actually like start talking and being like, "Why do I sound like a guy?"
Yeah.
And I'll be, "This is a guy's like
It's Bourbon.
video. It's Bourbon."
No,
Which would have been sexist of me, and I'm glad.
Well, she hangs with the dudes pretty damn good, with doing their job and everything else. She's
That is
pretty
true.
Good, she's a trooper.
That is true. I would classify her as a badass myself, but
Yep. She's my little chicken hawk. That one.
So I am officially out of both bourbons.
we got Josh a little extra filler because it is a tough decision. I mean,
It
these
is.
are unique bottles. I mean, look at the unique options we actually had come out. We had like this Japanese one, which has some pretty awesome labeling. Like that's a
Looks like old money.
That's a cool label right there. And the topper, I would definitely save that and put it on other bottles. And then the Whistle Pig,
Stock whistle pig.
which they bring products out that are worth like $600
Yeah.
or so they say, as far as like the Boss Hog, and you got the Whistle Pig 12, which also fetches like $130. I mean,
Well, and the like summer stock comes out every summer, and then they have different ones that are always floating around out there. So
Yeah.
they have different weird stuff, which is kind of cool.
they do. I mean, both of them fit the unique bottle experience, which I love that we all kind of have a grasp of what I was asking. So I was
So would you guys consider one of these proof positive?
Yes,
I do feel like 4 is proof positive.
I would agree, 100%. I feel 2 is very right close to 100.
This is really difficult for me.
Actually, less than. I bet you 2 is less than 100.
I think 2's at 100. I think the flavors are hiding the proof. I know what I brought had some chocolatey notes to it, and it's super interesting. It's unique. It's bottle and bond. So it's 100 proof, and it's something that's like it did, and I will say it said it had some notes of chocolate to it, and I've never tried it because whenever I buy something, I save it for this this process.
Gotcha.
Because I don't want a bias-y for it, and I'm not trying to say I have a bias-y for it because I think I know what it is, and that's why I'm going for it.
Well, and it's a good reason to explain why I've tried 163 different whiskeys this year, and it's
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want bias-y, and so while both of these are delicious, and it's a toss-up because it's like one situation you'd be like, oh, I would rather have this, and another situation, oh, I'd rather have this.
Fair.
I tend to go towards the episode or the situation where I'm having a cigar, and I'm like, oh, I want
Gotcha.
this. So I'm going with 2, and
Okay.
however it happens, it happens. So
I'm actually gonna go with number 4. I like the proof point on it a lot more. I think the color on it was a little bit darker. The color doesn't do anything with flavor or anything, but it also usually shows a little bit more barrel flavor. And then I kind of get that coming through it on the taste. I'm getting more of the grain flavor. It's not just pure corn. I think that number 4 has a little bit more immersive of a mash bill on it and a little bit more straightforward, like one more complex. From what I'm getting from it, it might be some sort of barrel aged finished thingy thing. But I'm gonna go with number 4. My biggest again is probably gonna be a proof thing.
What a tough choice.
I hope that helped.
It didn't. That's it.
I don't think it would,
Because it sounds like they both make sense.
right? Because when you were saying it, I'm like, I agree, and then when I think what I was tasting, I'm like, I agree.
Yep.
So it's like it's up to you.
That's why I make my decision before people start talking.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. This is such a neat episode. It really is. Like, typically we have things to go off of, whether it's like bottle and bond or made by a certain distillery, and now it's like everything's different.
Yes. And if one of these is SoCo, Lord help me.
I guarantee it.
So if
I
you would
guarantee
guess which one was finished, which one do you think it is?
4.
You do. What about you?
Finished. That's a good question.
Like that's finished and like a wood finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one is as well.
That's true. I didn't even think about finished options.
Here's what's super interesting. 2, after tasting it more, the peatiness I actually didn't taste anymore.
Yeah.
That actually, so I think it was maybe more of a comparison to number 1.
Sure.
Comically, I got a re-pour, and I still drank through both of them, and it's still very difficult for me to forget.
That's awesome, though.
Right.
That's awesome.
So, like,
I enjoy both of them as
yes.
well, but
Yeah.
I'm going to. What did you 2 pick?
Who cares? Just
No,
pick
I'm
one.
just curious.
so I picked 4
You
because
picked
of
4 and
the
you picked
proof.
1.
I picked 2. Yeah.
I can be honest with you. It is legit 50-50. It is, and I would be elated for both of them to move through. I'm gonna pick 4 only because higher proof, but amazing flavor. Great smell, great taste. But I said that 2 was one of the best.
Yeah.
Like, it was phenomenal.
Yep.
Great smell. And actually, I wrote great smell for both. That was the first thing let's just go with 4.
I love it. It's like literally a coin flip for him. And I mean, we're dealing with unique bottles, so we have no idea what we're going off of. So I love the truth behind everybody's pick. So we're going to bring out 2 and 4. And we'll see what
Sounds
they
good.
are. So we're back, and we're going to show what was runner-up, and it was 2. And it's a new Riff product, and the new Riff product is a winter whiskey. Now, the thing that made this unique for me, I ended up bringing this, and so obviously Bottle and Bond is 100 proof. We all know that, but it's a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey made with malted oat and chocolate malt, and I got chocolate off of that. Like, I've never had a whiskey where it was oat.
And the multi probably into that peaty.
This is what I find really funny about this. We have not had a new Riff compete with anything yet. This is the first new Riff that I would say is
Good.
really good.
Yeah.
Like, if I would buy this
Yeah.
and say, like, this is a really good bourbon.
Yeah, because normally
I thought
the
it
new
was
riffs
that.
are...
I really thought it was that good. I was
Yeah.
like, this is out of control.
Let me just read the back of it, and I'll just display it on the show. It's called, the mash bill is like 65% corn, 20% malted oats. I've never had anything with oats before.
It's like sorghum.
Thank you. 7% pale ale malt, 5% steel cut raw oats, and then 3% chocolate malt. So we got all sorts of barley malt and oats and stuff outside of the 65% corn. So the 65% corn, I think, gave it that really sweet finish.
Yep.
But you could really get some chocolatey notes out of it.
Yeah.
Like, I was impressed. And then with a bottle and bond, it's obviously automatically 100 proof.
Yep.
And so this is called
Proof even.
a winter whiskey. Like, I'm a fan of that.
No, it's good. That's probably the best New Riff product I've ever had.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was delicious. So, well done. New
Probably
Riff.
the coolest bottle I've seen from
Yeah.
New Riff.
That's
Bottle and
it's a nice
bond.
label.
Yeah, this is freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's got like a little celebration, like whatever it is with the winter thing. I don't know. It's almost
It's
like
snow.
a New Year.
Snow falling in the background.
So would this be considered a 4-grain? Corn, malted oats,
It's got to be.
pale ale malt. A 5-grain? Is this our first 5-grain steel cut raw oats?
I mean,
So
there's a
two
couple.
oats,
There's a couple
and then
oat.
chocolate malt.
There's a couple
So, I mean,
oat options. So
There's a
oat,
couple oat, couple malt, but they're different ones.
Yeah.
they are different. But there's corn, oat, and malt, not rye or wheat.
This is freaking cool, man.
That is cool.
I want to do more of these unique episodes.
I know they should.
There's stuff I would have, like, I look and I'm like, I don't want to buy that because I mean, what was the price point for this? It wasn't cheap. I can't imagine.
It was probably 55.
Oh, that's
Oh,
it.
that's it.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Does he have any more?
Where'd you find it?
I'm on my way.
What's his name?
We all know who it is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We know. You know.
And those watching, I mean, if you have a tough time finding some things that always seem to be allocated and stuff, go to a liquor store,
And just
talk to the person in charge, talk to who owns the
friends with
place
them.
Yeah.
or manages the place, and just say, hey, you know, I listen to this podcast called Bourbon Taste Offs, and they recommend you. I mean, even if we don't, just say it
Yeah.
and just like get them to be like,
Yeah.
you're get them to know your face and say that you're interested in bourbon.
And a little bit of it is loyalty too, or
Yes.
being, purchasing bottles from them, because there's bottles that they'll have behind the counter that they won't even tell you,
Yeah.
because they want to save that for those individuals that are spending, or like buying, 2 bottles every time they come in, like
Right.
every 2 to 3 weeks. Like, you don't need to spend thousands of dollars, but it's just like, hey, how's it going? Oh, what do you got? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really into this. Have you tried this? So I have a couple different spots, and I go to, and they're like, oh, you tried the Blue Run. How'd you like that? I was like, it's okay. And then I was like, come back. I was like, oh yeah, actually, I tried it again. I really like it. So it's, and just that
Yeah.
like relational aspect. And that's why we're here anyways, is the
It is.
community. Like
Right.
the fact that we're able to hang out and joking around about, who knows what.
Right.
And then I think the people as well who, own these liquor stores or work at them, like are equally invested in
Right.
and sharing. It's a community of sharing. So it's,
I think
that's what
sometimes
said.
too, they just really want to have a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
Right? Because people sometimes walk in. You have Blanton's? No.
Yeah, they don't want to be as
All right, bye.
transactional. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what do you enjoy?
Right.
And like the spot that we go to, the guy doesn't even drink. He's like, hey, I got this. And he'll like shoot me a text. I got this. It's like, how much is that? He's like, $600. I was like, awesome. Thanks for sharing. Sorry, I can't afford that.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we move on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty neat.
No, that's awesome because I mean, there's been so many times where I've gone to the place that we go to, and he knows us, and he knows we have a podcast, and we take it seriously. He will like present this to offer and this to offer, and it's like yes or no, yes or no. But then it's like, but I'm really looking for this, and he's like, oh, I have that too, and it's like,
Yeah.
why didn't you start with that?
So that happened with me in Michigan, and I was at a wedding, and with Mike, who was in a previous episode, and I just leave, and I'm like, like talking, and then it's like, all right, cool. I was like, do you have anything else? And I'm like checking out. He's like, oh yeah, I have Eagle Rare, and I'm like, I hadn't seen Eagle Rare in the wild in like 2 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, here you go. He's like after I was like checking out with 3 bottles. He goes, oh, here you go. And then he's like gave me 2 bottles of Eagle Rare at $60. And I mean, that was,
Yeah.
it was a really cool experience. And I was, taking a little bit of bourbon with them, and they're having fun. And it's Friday or it's Saturday night at 8 p.m. and they're having fun with a patron that's coming in and just that's what it's about.
Yeah,
so
it is, because I mean they don't want just people coming in like bypassing what they have on the shelves and being like, I just want what you can't get.
Give me your best now.
Exactly. No, they want people to actually buy other things, and they'll be like, well, we can offer you this too. And it's like,
right.
Otherwise, that's all people will do. So you just have to build up a rapport with someone and actually make it happen.
I was even like, I mean, I'm in Michigan, right, mind you, and I'm like, hey, I'm in here for a wedding, and I'm like, I'm looking to bring back bourbon to the wedding so we can taste bourbon in the parking lot. They're like, oh, that's awesome.
Right.
And they're like, have you tried this? And I was like, oh, I've never tried this. And they're like, so there's more even the story. And they're like, people walk away like, oh, I was tasting bourbon with a guy from Wisconsin. And they're like, so it doesn't, you don't even have to be from there. It's just about conversations.
Yeah. And you said that they offered so many different tastings.
Oh, yeah. I was like, guys, I got to get out of here. My wife's going to freaking kill me when I disappeared
I'm
from...
here for a wedding, but now in a half hour later, I'm just here for the tasting.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So let's find out what this unique bottle winner is.
So we have had this brand a ton.
So you know what it is. You brought it.
I brought it.
You must have
If
brought
you had
it.
to guess what brand it is, what do you think it is?
Well, you always talk up Four Roses.
Okay.
So like that's where I would go, just
Four
because
Roses, Four Roses for Todd.
J. Henry.
All right. Well, pop it open.
Angels. Envy. Store pick.
Single barrel.
Oh, that is interesting, because I do have a single barrel which I never opened yet.
So I found it yesterday, and that's the first time I've ever seen an Angels Envy single barrel. So I was super excited to see it. I purchased it. Now, this is not something that, like, this is, for the bourbon taste off. It's like, all right, cool. Hey, they had a single barrel on the taste off. Where do I find that? I've never seen this before, so it is very unique, and nor would I expect anybody to find it. But I was super stoked to come here and share it with you guys.
I have one from Autos.
I actually have
That's
one
been
from Autos.
and I have not had it yet.
I haven't opened it either. It has like a little like necklace,
Yeah.
like a basically like a emblem.
The bottle's different.
With wings?
Though. My bottle is different.
It
I don't
is
know, maybe
different.
that's their newer
So I literally just bought it yesterday.
word.
Well, you drank a lot of it.
So
It is good though.
we were watching the fights last night. Like I said, my best friend had Booker's, and I didn't know what he was bringing, and I had it in the car, and I was saving it actually for today. And then I felt bad not bringing it inside, so I brought it inside, and we shared a little bit of it. So
I love the fact that you can be influenced by guilt.
very easily, not less guilt, more of I brought in Buffalo Trace, which is a $30 bottle. My best friend sharing a $110 bottle of Booker's. So I'm like, hey, like, not that he is not that type of person, but he's like,
Right.
I was like, I can't believe you brought Booker's here, and it was at our other buddy's house. And then I was like, dude, I got an Angels Envy single barrel in the car. And he looks at me, he's like, and it's not in here yet? I was like, all right, yeah, you're right. So what'd you guys think?
It's good.
Well, obviously it won.
Right.
So
I mean, as a episode premise, this was fun.
Right.
I agree.
Because sometimes we'll do like, oh, it's this distillery, it's this, and that's always great. But then sometimes it's like, hey, left field throws.
This was a left field throw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we both, or all three of us, took this opportunity to bring something that we liked to this for a unique tasting, knowing that this was unique. But yeah, we really wanted to share this. I was, Becca was supposed to join us, wasn't able to join us today. And I was petitioning the other two to let me bring these two. In my petitioning, nearly forceful to say, I want to share these two with you guys today.
Yeah.
So I was so excited to share both of these with you guys.
And
Here's a really cool thing that I just found on angelsenvy.com. So you can actually, it says, hey, you can actually get your own single barrel selection, start an application. You can open to the public for the first time. This is your chance to own an entire barrel of our 110 proof bourbon, accompanied by an immersive distillery experience. Here is a look into what you can expect. Yeah, I'm super curious what this would be. Once you stepped into our barrel room doors, so start an application. So you can actually start an application to buy your own barrel.
That's
for a
awesome.
single barrel. I mean, that is freaking cool.
Is that enough though? I don't think enough. I don't think a barrel's enough.
No, I don't
For
think
us?
so.
A barrel?
Yeah, like 3 barrels, 4 barrels, 5 barrels.
I mean, it depends. Do you put it in bottles or just have it out of
I
the
mean,
barrel?
if it keeps winning like this one did, we need to start buying that stuff because that's delicious. I mean, this episode is pretty damn cool. We all brought something that was pretty unique. Like I've never heard of a winter whiskey. I mean, this Japanese one is pretty awesome. I've seen it places, and then the whistle. Everybody knows what Whistlepig is, but I've never seen that exact option. And then Angel's Envy. It actually won when it was a rye finished in a rum cask. And in this episode, it just beat out our unique bottle episodes. So it's pretty impressive.
Awesome.
And I really appreciate everybody bringing their options to this tasting. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you for watching. And please watch our next episode. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll see you next episode.